What is up, guys? Welcome to Behind the Beat. I am your host, Chris Langen, and today we're going to be talking about ghost notes and accents. Alrighty, guys, so today, ghost notes and accents. So if you've come to this video, I'm assuming you probably want to learn a little bit more about each of them. To give you a quick description on what a ghost note and an accented note mean, a ghost note is typically a note that we play softer. In respect to, stick height and stuff like that, it's literally just a tap. It almost kind of goes unnoticed in some playing. You might look to a drummer like Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He does a lot of ghost note playing in his work. So one of the beats we're going to be doing today kind of has that feel to it, so you'll see what I mean. So yeah, ghost note is a softer played note, okay? The way that we see it in written drum music is the note has parentheses around it. That's how we know that note needs to be ghosted. All right, so an accented note. Well, our ghost note is our softer note, right? So our accented note, that is our note that we want to hit harder, make it stand out more, okay? Whereas a ghost note, you really only need to tap and bring your stick height up maybe an inch or two. An accent, we might want to come more from, from our shoulder height or whatever. Now, as far as how you know it's an accented note in written sheet music, a note with an accent will have a greater than looking arrow above it. Okay, so when you see a note with one of those greater than arrow looking symbols, that indicates an accent. We want to strike that hit harder. All right. Now, this is going to be a two-part lesson. Today, we're just going to get into two quick snare drum exercises just to work out our ghosts and our accents, and then we're going to play a few beats, all right? So let's start off with the snare drum accent ghost note patterns. We're going to do everything just 16th notes. I'm just going to go straight 16th notes, 1 E-enda, 2 E-enda, 3 E-enda, 4 E-enda. What we're going to do is accent certain notes, ghost the rest. So in the first example, we are going to be accenting the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. The E's, the ands, and the uhs are all going to be ghosted, so we're going to play those a little bit softer. We're going to do this to the metronome, so grab your sticks if you have a snare or pad. Try to join along. Here we go. One E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and Okay. All right, our next pattern, still we're just going to stick with 16th notes. However, this time we're going to accent the 1 and the So 1, the of 1, 2, the of 2, 3, the of 3, and 4, and the of 4. Here's what I mean. Now, in part 2 of this, we're going to do a few more of these style exercises. But for right now, in part 1, let's jump into some grooves. Okay? Groove number 1 is a basic eighth note rock beat pattern. We're going to do eighth notes on the hi-hat, kick on 1 and 3, snare on 2 and 4. However, we're going to throw a ghost note on our snare on the of 2 and the of 4. Okay? I'm going to do it to the metronome at 80 beats per minute. Here's what this one sounds like. Okay? As you can see, I'm literally just tapping the snare on that I'm not coming really much higher than maybe an inch or two. On my my downbeat of 2 and 4, I'm giving it an average. I'm giving it an average go. For the basically just tapping on my way up. Okay, on the upstroke almost. All right. This is what we call dynamics. This is what kind of separates. I mean, you could have two drummers, one playing this eighth note rock beat without the ghost notes, and then another drummer doing it with the ghost notes. And the one that's doing the ghost notes, even though these are super simple patterns and they're almost identical, the drummer doing the patterns with the ghost notes in it might stick out a little bit more as a more dynamic drummer. He's adding a little bit more sauce or flavor to the beat. Okay, let's try our next pattern. Okay, we're gonna keep it pretty simple. The eighth notes on the hi-hat. We're gonna have kick on 1 and 3 and snare on 2 and 4. Our ghost note is going to be on the E of 1 and the E of 3. So here's what it sounds like. Okay, I'll count it out, and I'll do it nice and slow for you. 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4 and. Okay, without the ghost note, it's just a basic eighth notes on the kick drum, 2 and 4 on the snare. It would sound like this without the ghost. Basically our We Will Rock You style pattern. By throwing a ghost note on the E of 1 and the E of 3, gives it a little bit more flavor. Okay, let's take a look at our next pattern. All right, we've got eighth notes on the hi-hat again. Eighth notes on our bass drum to start. We have 1 and. We have a snare on 2. Then we have a ghost note on the again. So this pattern is very similar to the very first pattern we did, Really, the only difference here is that we're playing eighth notes on our bass drum rather than a quarter note. So 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, and So I'll just do this one really quickly. Not much of a difference from the first one. All right. That one is you might recognize that. That's kind of the pattern you would hear in Danny, California by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. As I was mentioning before, Chad Smith does a lot of work with ghost notes. You'll notice if you listen to his playing on their records, he does a lot of ghost notes throughout a lot of their songs. So let's take a look at the next one, guys. All right, so we've got 1 E and 2, 3 E and 4, Kick drum, 1, it's on 1 and, 1 and. We have a ghost note on the snare on the E in between that. 1 E and. Okay. Then we have our backbeat on 2, like normal. Then we're going to throw a ghost note on the of 2. And then for the second half of the bar, it just repeats itself again. So 3 E and 4 and . Here's what it sounds like with the metronome. Okay. All right, guys. So the last one for part 1 of Ghost Notes and Accents, we are going to introduce the drag, which is one of our rudiments. For those of you unfamiliar with what a drag is, when you see it in notation, it's 2 small 16th notes, or sometimes you'll see them as 32nd notes. But basically, what they are is 2 quick doubles, okay? And it's going to happen, in this particular example, right before our bass drum on beat 3. Okay, so we're going to do it 2 quick doubles with our left hand. Okay. Now, you might want to go and check out the actual rudiment itself. There are a lot of drag rudiments in our 40 rudiments, so check them out. Basically, like I said, 2 quick doubles that come before the actual downbeat. All right. Here's what this example sounds like. All right, guys. So here are a few beats for you to work on. Also, the accented 16th note patterns that we could do on the snare or the pad. Work on these. Take some of the beats that you already play and try throwing in a tap on an or an E. It just gives whatever groove you're playing a little more dynamic. All right. So make sure you check back. We're going to do a part 2 to this lesson. So until then, see you in the next lesson, guys.